a manual flying test partway through the mission. I mean, the Crew Dragon capsule. Oh, everybody's asking about the black helmet. I don't know the reason on the black helmet. That's where I was going with the black helmet. I don't know the reason for the black helmet. A lot of speculation on whether it was a training helmet or whether or not it was, it signifies that that's a JAXA astronaut, or maybe he has some sort of mission critical designation. It's very confusing, though. He's a mission specialist, but there's another mission specialist. So why would one mission specialist have a black helmet and the other one doesn't? We don't know. The only thing that's different, it could either be a training helmet to astronaut, or he has some sort of mission critical designation that we don't know about. So, all right, let's go back to, now I can't remember what we were talking about after that. Why aren't they using Starship instead of a Falcon 9 rocket? Starship isn't ready yet. So we're not even close. I'm not sure if you saw what happened to Starship yesterday, but Starship is not even close to ready yet. Let's see. Oh, why is it a demonstration mission? Thank you, Sander. So yeah, demonstration mission. They're going to be performing in-flight manual controls. The Crew Dragon capsule is pretty much autonomous and can launch, which it did do during Demo 1 last March. They flew Demo 1, which was fully autonomous. So they flew to the International Space Station. The Crew Dragon capsule pretty much did all the work. And it could still potentially do all the work during this particular flight, but they are going to intentionally perform manual flight tests when they're in orbit. But that's some of the reason why it's called a demonstration mission, is they have to demonstrate that works. They couldn't do that during Demo 1. There's nobody on board to do manual flight controls. So they demonstrated most of the things on Demo 1, but there are some things that they need to demonstrate on Demo 2. Some of it is like, hey, what's the comfort level for astronauts? So one of the things they were testing on Wednesday that was like a really minor thing, but you're like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. They were testing like what the comfort level is. The astronauts, when they get in the Crew Dragon capsule, the seats will rotate backwards so they're on their backs. And they're like that for hours. And so one of the things they were testing, like they could test with an anthropomorphic test dummy what the G-forces were. They had microphones on it so they could hear the sounds. They could, they could measure the pressures and the temperatures and all that kind of stuff. But what you can't measure is comfort level. Like what's it like being on there? So that some of those things, there's like really minor human things that they have to measure and demonstrate to see if they're going to work all right during flight. Let's see. So we do have, where's my NASA TV feed? Yeah, so they're chatting it up right now, but we're going to keep looking at rocket views until we get a little bit closer. And then we'll take a look at, we'll switch over to NASA TV eventually, but at the moment we're going to hang out. We'll look at the rocket. We're going to look at the rocket. We're going to look at weather conditions, look at the flight path, and we'll answer some questions as I see them coming through, and also make sure we stick around as we get close to launch time. Oh, look at the blue. I didn't even notice this. I was paying attention to my phone. Look at the blue skies. We've got blue skies. Stick around. Stick around. This could happen. Oh, man, that's it. But although the clouds on the left side of the picture are not looking that great, looking a little dark. We want those to get out of there. Everybody at your computer just... Oh, God, I wish that worked. How can we invest in SpaceX? SpaceX is a private company, so unfortunately you cannot invest in SpaceX that I know of, at least not publicly. I'm sure there's a way to do it privately, but... let's see so what we're coming up here now on, if you're taking a look at the events list over here, we had crew weather briefing, which has happened. We're now going to get the official crew handoff from NASA to SpaceX. This is a little more of like a formality, which I'm going to keep an eye on our broadcast, and we'll pull that up here in a second. But this is more of a formality in the sense that NASA will officially hand off the astronauts to SpaceX. They do this every time. They did it on Wednesday, but that's the point where the astronauts, right before suit up, NASA's like, okay, you guys are responsible now. You're in charge, you guys being SpaceX. You guys are in charge of our astronauts. You're now the lead agency that are taking control. They hand off the astronauts, and that's when they start suit up. And from that point on, this is a SpaceX launch. SpaceX is in charge. It's a SpaceX launch director that makes final calls. NASA is involved. They have mission managers. They can give their go or no go for launch with NASA mission managers. NASA could step into the process if they see anything that they're like, hey, I don't particularly like what you're doing there. They've gone through this so many times that's pretty unexpected at this point. They've done dress rehearsals. We went through a whole wet dress rehearsal on Wednesday when they tried to launch. So not expected that would ever happen, but the possibility, or the opportunity, I should say, is there. So it's not like SpaceX. It's not like SpaceX would be like, we're launching. NASA's like, no, please don't. And then they're like, we're doing it anyways. That's not going to happen. But they do have the capability to do that. But this really is just a symbolic thing in the sense that they hand off the crew and they say, okay, this is your crew now. You're in charge of our astronauts. So that will have just happened 2 minutes ago. Next thing here is going to be astronaut suit up. That comes in about 3 minutes from now is when the suit up starts. And then they will do the walkout. Suit up it's relatively quick, actually. Surprisingly quick is suit up. And then they will depart for the launch pad 3 hours and 15 minutes prior to launch. So about 45 minutes here from now is when they start to depart for the launch pad. Let's see. What else? My PJs say NASA. I love it. Let me know in the comments what you're wearing for NASA gear today, or SpaceX gear. If you weren't here on the broadcast, we got the NASA shirt on, of course. But NASA shirt, right? SpaceX underneath. It should be the other way around, just because it's technically a SpaceX launch. But I just really like this NASA shirt. Let's see. Why are there 4 seats instead of 2? This is figured for 4 seats because they're testing for Crew 1 and for the commercial crew program, which will generally have 4 astronauts on all the commercial crew missions. So they're testing this like it was a Crew 1 mission. So you got to make sure your weight is set. They have their little dragon or dinosaur or whatever. I think it's a dragon. It would make sense. Crew Dragon. They have a little dragon stuffed animal that's going to serve as a 0G indicator, so you can visually see when they reach 0G. There you go. N. Perry Go has a NASA shirt on. Are we going to watch the entire mission, including docking and undocking? Yes, so the plan is that if we launch today, this broadcast will go all the way through launch, all the way to the press conference, post-launch press conference, and then we'll be done here. NASA will still be streaming live the whole time, but just keep in mind there's a sleep period built in, which is not super exciting to see the sleep period. So they'll have a sleep period in there. During that time, we'll go offline, but I will be back, assuming they'll be back tomorrow morning, and we will have we'll broadcast the docking operation, and that will be what time will that be at? It should be around like 9 a.m. Eastern time.
Suited up over 50 years ago, where astronauts John Young and Robert Crippen suited up for the first shuttle flight, STS-1, back in 1981. And for every shuttle flight over the next 30 years, think of that. Every flight to the moon, every flight of Skylab and Apollo Soyuz, and every single space shuttle flight started in that room. And Leland, I know many of us have experienced some form of quarantine over the last several months, but I would imagine that 2 weeks in quarantine in preparation for a space flight is unlike any other time in your life. What were some traditions that took place?
Oh, we would get together and sit down and sometimes tell jokes and try to make the mood a little bit lighter. We would review our notes and things, but we would bring our families in and have a crew meal together with our families, and that was really touching. And it's just card games, different things to get ready for that iconic mission to space.
Absolutely. In many ways, everything prior to this moment was preparation, and everything after this is the mission. And prior to Wednesday's first attempt that we told you about, the suit-up room was last used for the final shuttle flight, STS-135, in 2011. And I want to mention one more detail about that mission. We want to show you a picture of the crew from the last American spaceflight launching from U.S. soil. In the picture, if we can bring it up, you'll see Doug Hurley. There it is, Doug Hurley. He was the pilot for STS-135. Today he is the commander of DM-2, the spacecraft commander. Also suiting up for that mission was Chris Ferguson, Sandy Magnus, and Rex Walheim, who we just heard from a few minutes ago. And we are standing by to go into the suit-up room. We just passed the T-minus 4-hour mark, so suit-up is just beginning now, and there is our first look in the room. There is astronaut Doug Hurley getting into his spacesuit, and he's being helped by one of the suit technicians there. So this is our first look in the room. Again, Doug Hurley, he has flown into space 2 times before. He was the pilot on STS-127 and 135. And there's a wider shot. You can see astronaut Bob Behnken also in view now. Bob is to the right of your screen, and he also flew on 2 shuttle missions. Bob is a native of St. Anne, Missouri. So if you're watching from Missouri, especially St. Anne, wave hi, there's Bob. And Doug is from Appalachian, New York. He was born in Endicott, considers Appalachian his hometown. I know a lot of people there because I'm from there too. So if you're watching from upstate New York, shout out to you there too. This is so cool to see. Leland, this must bring back memories for you.
It does, but it's a little different than when I was suiting up, because there were Apollo era lazy boys that were sitting in and leaning back in, and now they're in these really incredible sleek suits, as well as these the seats that are actually the same seats that are in the Crew Dragon vehicle, and that's pretty amazing.
Yes, these seats are basically ground support equipment seats. They're pretty much the same as the ones in the vehicle, as Leland said. So what they're doing right now is strapping the crew into the seats to prepare for the 2 big checkouts that they're doing right now. They're going to do a comms check, a bidirectional comms check, where they're going to check that the microphones that are inside of the helmets that the crew are wearing, that the suit techs can communicate with them bidirectionally. And they'll also do a leak test, which is a pressure test where they'll pressurize the spacesuit. So the suits are much more than just futuristic looking outfits. They do look like they come from a sci-fi movie, but they, as we described, they're designed to connect directly into Dragon seats to provide communications, cooling, and the ability to pressurize if necessary. A moment ago, you may have seen one of the suit technicians attaching a big white umbilical to the leg of the suit. That is the way in which the communications and the airflow, all of that is happening through that umbilical, which is connected to the seat. So right now, as you can see, the team is getting the crew all buttoned up in their 5-point harnesses and getting ready for those checkouts.
And there's that worm again, Leland, right front and center. How does that make you feel on a spacesuit?
It makes me feel just great, Marie and Lauren. We have a lot of heritage and tradition with the meatball, but I'm able to be a little bit more flexible now that Lauren has beat this worm thing into me. No, but they're getting ready. They're focused. They've had breakfast. They've had chances to talk to friends and family, and it's getting real again. And that 50-50 chance, I'm seeing positive on 50% chance of going. Seeing the suit techs around them with these futuristic-looking flight suits versus the white suits that we've had in the past. It's transitioning from that old legacy to this new era in space travel. And I think working with NASA and SpaceX, working together as one team, it's just like what we do in space, work together as an international team to get things done.
Absolutely. And this group really gets to know each other well, too. There's a wave from Doug and a thumbs up. That's so cool to see. I mean, the people in that room get to know Bob and Doug really well because they've rehearsed this so many times, especially the suit techs. The suits are, custom made for each of the astronauts. So I feel like I couldn't even count the number of times they've had suit fit checks and leak checks and just making sure every detail with the fit and the function is just perfect before they get ready to launch.
And interestingly enough, these suit techs are also the designers of the spacesuit. They've been working with the crew for years as we've been building these suits, their training suits, all of the training events in Hawthorne, where the crew is inside of the Buck, the capsule simulator. This is the team that's been working with them for years. The team that dressed Ripley, which is the ATD, the dummy that flew in Demo 1.
You mean mannequin, right?
Mannequin, Smarty.
The
There's
Smarty.
lots of names for Ripley.
But the point being, they've been with these suits from cradle to grave and have been working so closely with Bob and Doug.
Pressures and making sure everything looks good prior to arming the launch escape system, but not tracking a constraint at the moment. So overall, Dragon's healthy and ready for crew ingress.
Okay, thank you for the update, MD. And this concludes the countdown briefing.
So you just heard in that briefing there, they're continuing to move forward towards launch. And as we have a view of Doug Hurley there adjusting his visor, again, he is the spacecraft commander for Demo 2. And while he continues the suit up process, we want to give you a closer look at the veteran Marine Corps fighter pilot and spaceflight pioneer.
Very excited. Yeah, very excited.
You feel ready? Feel pumped?
Oh yeah, I think we're ready. I think we're certainly ready.
Joining the SpaceX Demo 2 test. He is a Marine Corps colonel and test pilot. He was selected as an astronaut in 2000. He piloted Space Shuttle Endeavour and Atlantis for STS-135, the final space shuttle mission. Introducing NASA astronaut Doug Hurley.
It's a life-changing process in so many ways to fly into space. It's just overwhelming in some respects. Just the sensations, the rumbling, the shaking, the acceleration. When the engines shut off and you go from, in the case of the shuttle, you go from 3 Gs to 0 Gs instantaneously and things start floating. And I remember distinctly just thinking, what just happened? To see a rocket launch in person is, it's a pretty emotional event. I remember the first shuttle launch and it was amazing. And then when I saw a shuttle launch with my wife on it, that is quite the emotional experience. My name is Doug Hurley, and I'm the spacecraft commander for the Demo 2 mission to the International Space Station. We are doing the first crewed flight for NASA and for SpaceX. So this is the test flight to prove end-to-end from launch to docking to ISS operations and then entry, descent, and landing. This will be the first time the Dragon had a crew on board, and so there's a myriad of objectives we want to achieve for this mission. SpaceX has been responsible for design and essentially making this vehicle what it is. What the astronauts bring to the table is the crew vehicle interface. What would work on orbit, what might not work on orbit, what would definitely work, to be able to just have the entire integrated team that's going to support us getting to and from space station, talking together, working through the challenges that simulators typically throw at you. It was really neat being part of it. It's just been an incredible undertaking to see where we've come just in the last 5 years that Bob and I have been a part of this, and to be, shortly flying to the International Space Station with the Crew Dragon. It overwhelms you to think about how many people have in some way, shape, or form touched this program and this vehicle to get us to this point. And we are the lucky ones that get to fly it, but we certainly not for 1 second take for granted the amount of effort that so many other people had to put into this to make it successful.
For Doug personally, he's worked so hard, through his entire life, to get to where we are right now. As a test pilot, this would be the dream to fly a new vehicle. So it makes me so happy to see that he gets to be part of this mission, the spacecraft commander. I'm just glad to see his hard work and his dreams come true for that.
It's been a long road in a lot of ways for not only us, but certainly for all the folks that work in the Commercial Crew Program, as well as SpaceX in our case, just working to get to this point. It's been a huge amount of sacrifice and time away from home, but the fruits of our labor are coming to fruition.
We are now getting closer to when we expect to see the crew complete their suit checks and walk out of the Neil Armstrong Operations and Checkout Building.
And before they do, here's an introduction to the Joint Operations Commander for Demo 2. You see to the left of your screen there, former Air Force flight test engineer Bob Behnken.
When you go through the launch day preparations, there's a lot of moments that kind of stand out to you. One is the kind of the celebratory piece of it, which is that you're walking out of the suit up room and getting in the vehicle that's going to take you to the launch pad. When you close the hatch, that's really when Doug and I are in the vehicle, and it's our vehicle, and we're really in control of the mission at that point.
Test pilots, their task proved that man could fly into orbit around the Earth and return live and well to talk about it.
There's always a balance of managing risk as you go forward to execute a test point and figuring out a way to collect the data. We hear a sound. Okay, is that sound an expected sound? Or we see a light, is that light an expected light? What's the source of it? Does it sync up with something else that's going on or not? So trying to dissect all of that in real time in your head is, a lot of things happen like that on launching of a vehicle.
From St. Anne, Missouri, he is an Air Force colonel and flight test engineer. He flew aboard Space Shuttle Endeavour twice. Introducing NASA astronaut Bob Behnken.
My career at NASA has kind of spanned a couple of decades at this point. I arrived with the class of 2000, went through the training program, primarily focused on the Space Shuttle and the International Space Station, learning those systems. Having launched a couple times on vehicles, the second time was definitely different than the first time. You can feel a little bit guilty of, hey, should I study one more thing? Or is there one more piece of information I should get? Am I really prepared or not? So that's definitely different between where I was on my first flight and where I'm at right now. It's been really interesting, I think, for both my wife and I to have gone through the process of seeing each other launch in space. I've seen her take that risk and had it be in front of her, and I've done that to her. And there's just something different about watching a rocket launch when there are people on board. You feel a little bit differently about the pit of your stomach, and I can only tell you it's multiplied significantly when it's somebody that you know, and then somebody, of course, that's a family member. It's even multiplied more.
For me personally, as a spouse, watching everything that Bob has put into this over the last 5 years, the dedication that he's shown, the perseverance is pretty special. For both of us, though, the way our minds work, it won't be until sort of the mission is complete that you have really a chance to savor it and celebrate it. This is a huge accomplishment for an Air Force flight test engineer to be part of the demonstration mission of a brand new vehicle. It's going to be amazing.
Without a partner that has that same appreciation, I think it can be challenging for some folks. There's a lot of work and a lot of time that takes away from family that that my spouse appreciates, and I love her for that. Really, my role on the Demo 2 mission is to make sure that we get this vehicle tested and evaluated so that we can move on to more operational missions at the International Space Station. We've got a lot of objectives on board the vehicle that we need to accomplish to really make sure that it's good to go. We'll make sure all those systems are working during the test flight so that the future missions will have them available even if they don't plan to utilize them. Through years of the NASA team helping to share that experience and teaching them the lessons that we've learned by going through this, now there's another capability in the U.S. besides NASA to operate something of this magnitude. When is the last time humans launched on a new vehicle? Certainly on the American side, it's been several decades. Now we're in a time when we've got multiple vehicles under development. It's a great time from a space exploration time frame just to see all that happening, and it's because of this nurturing of the environment, being able to pull in a wider group of people who can contribute towards human spaceflight. It's a super cool time. On a deeply personal level, I'm really excited that my son is going to get a chance to see me launch into space. Being an astronaut has been a little bit of an abstraction thing for him because he's seen me do it in old videos, but he hasn't seen me do it for real. And so I'm excited for him to see this launch. I want to thank the entire Commercial Crew Program team that's worked together to get to this point where we've got vehicles in the launch pad ready to head to the International Space Station.
And here is a live look again inside the suit-up room in the Neil Armstrong Operations and Checkout Building. We can see now NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine. He's talking to the crew. You won't hear any audio in here, and actually we had some questions about this Wednesday because people were like, why can't I hear what they're saying? That's by design. It's not a mistake. We are really lucky to be able to show you this video live as they're suiting up, but you don't hear the audio because that's a little bit, we try to give the crew a little bit of privacy, and so being able to talk freely and share really what's on their minds without having to worry about who's listening is part of the reason you don't hear audio in there. But that's Jim Bridenstine there talking to the crew, and it looks like Associate Administrator Jim Morehard is also in the room standing to the right of your screen.
And these are great moments to get a last chance to talk to the senior leadership of NASA as they're about to go off and launch into the cosmos. And I think when you look at how Bob and Doug complement each other, and how these SpaceX suits, they really complement the astronauts too, because they're more form-fitted, they're custom-made, and this is a moment where they're getting ready to do the real deal. And Lauren, I think the integration of the suit and the vehicle and these seats is just really, really impressive how y'all at SpaceX did that.
Yeah, the primary purpose of the spacesuit, it's a pressure suit. Now, the Dragon capsule is already pressurized, so even in the vacuum of space, the crew is safe when inside of Dragon, but in the unlikely event of an anomaly that causes the capsule to depressurize, we can actually flow oxygen or nitrox into the suit, and that will keep the astronauts pressurized in flight. So that's its main purpose. So it's that form and function, and some style there as well.
And for the kids out there that have 3D printers or have 3D printed, the actual helmets were made by 3D printing. So you could be a spacesuit designer yourself because you already have the skill set, and or fly in space one day if you wanted to.
And I'm curious about what kind of conversation might be going on with them. Looks like it's lighthearted. You can see Doug laughing there. I know that Mr. Bridenstine has said, Bob and Doug, if you want to back out, it's not too late. I would imagine he may have said that again. I know they're ready to go. They're as eager as can be. And it looks like they may have another visitor coming in. Oh no, it looks like the administrator's just being passed something there, but
and it's really important. I mean, we've trained for so long. We've gone through the malfunction processes. Now he's doing a selfie.
Of course, you got to do the selfie. I didn't see them do this on Wednesday, so they were probably kicking themselves when they walked out. Why didn't we do a selfie in there?
I wonder if he has that Instagram filter to put the glasses on. Do you think he has it on?
Well, you can tweet at him and find out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. No, this is a great lighthearted moment. It gets the guys in a good mindset to go off in space in a very calm and cool and collected way. I think he's now taking pictures of some of the crew techs, the suit techs, which is fantastic. It's all about bringing the family and the team together, making everyone feel comfortable on flight day and helping us get to space safely, as we always try to do.
And obviously this is a very serious mission. I mean, we don't want to make too much light of it, but Leland, you mentioned Wednesday, and I thought that was a really good point, why it's important to be able to joke around and keep things light as you're getting ready to go to the launch pad.
Yeah, when I went up on 122 with Rex and we just talked to Rex, we were, in the caravan going over to the launch pad, we were kind of making some jokes. But as we were suiting up, we would look over at each other, we would get up and high five, and we'd say, hey, you're ready? Let's go, let's do this, And it's just, you've already trained, you know how to do this. You've done it many, many times.
I love the SpaceX ninjas, right? And even the ones that are the final closeout crew in the crew access arm right before they get in the capsule, they look super awesome because they've got the black hoods and everything. Like, they look sleek. I don't know, I like those. Yeah, there you go. TP Sleeker. Inverse flag is for battle. Has been inverse since 1911. Is that right? Will we get to hear any of their conversations? No, unfortunately, they don't air any of the audio from their conversations.
I think one of the things that was important in the development of the suit was to make it easy to use. It's something that the crew just has to literally plug in when they sit down, and then the suit kind of takes care of itself from there. So the suit is really kind of one part of the bigger Dragon system. It's really part of the vehicle. So we think of it as kind of a suit-seat system. So the seat that the crew is in and the suit are in a lot of ways working together. And so it made sense that we were designing Dragon in-house to also design the suit.
Our spacesuits is completely designed in-house. It's built here in Hawthorne, California, in the same building as the rocket and the capsule. The spacesuit is custom-made for each crew member, and that is to optimize the fit for the crew member.
We definitely wanted to innovate, and we wanted it to look inspiring, but first and foremost, we wanted it to be safe and reliable. The spacesuit's primary purpose is to protect the crew in the unlikely event that the cabin were to depressurize. But the suit does a number of additional things. It provides cooling and communication to the crew inside of the suit, provides them hearing protection, and the outer layer of the suit is flame resistant, so it provides flame protection as well. When the crew gets in the capsule, they get in their seats and they plug the suit into the umbilical that's attached to the seat. And the umbilical is providing everything that the suit needs. So it provides the avionics or electronics for communications, it's providing the air to cool the suit, and then it also provides gas when needed to pressurize the suit. So it's really a single point that lets the suit do all the things that it needs to do. We designed the helmet in-house. The helmet serves a number of different functions. Obviously, it's protecting the crew's head and it's retaining gas like the rest of the suit, but it also houses the microphones as well as the valves that are regulating pressure in the suit. We had to design the gloves so that they would work with the touchscreen. So the gloves also still had to do a number of other things like the rest of the suit. So all of those things had to come together within the glove. It'll be obviously really amazing to see Bob and Doug in their flight suits, and I think one of the things that's cool about the suit is it's not just a piece of hardware, it's not just a suit, it's a very personal thing. It's Bob's suit and it's Doug's suit. And so seeing the two of them in their suits using it in flight will be just a really amazing thing.
And you're looking live at Launch Complex 39A. That is Crew Dragon in the center of your screen, sitting atop a two-stage Falcon 9 SpaceX rocket that will produce 1.7 million pounds of thrust at liftoff. We are keeping our fingers crossed that the weather cooperates. It's a 50-50 chance. It looks beautiful right now, but there may be some thunderstorms rolling in later, so we're keeping a close eye on the weather. In the meantime, we're going to head west to Hawthorne for an operational update. Dan?
Hey, Marie. We are here in Hawthorne still. The astronauts have a crew training facility that's equipped with both a cockpit simulator and a full-scale Dragon mock-up to conduct simulations both for nominal and off-nominal situations.
And recently, the SpaceX team shared the exact same ISS simulator that the astronauts train on with the public, so you can try your hand at docking the ISS. If you head over to iss-sim.spacex.com, you can try your hand at docking with the space station. And I've tried it once before. It was really difficult. It looks way more, it's more difficult than it actually is, I think.
Yeah, flying in space is really deceiving. Just when you think you're going really slow and everything's okay, the next thing you know, you're careening into the space station. So it's way harder. You have to go way slower than you think. It might take a couple of tries, but it's doable.
Yeah, but you guys should try it and check it out and see if you can do it. So let's check in with John Innsbrucker for a quick update on Dragon and Falcon 9. John?
Well, we're coming up on T-minus 3 hours and 35 minutes. All continues to go well for today's launch. Now on the launch pad, Falcon 9 is powered on. Engine and stage checkouts were performed last night. All of those looked good. Now we're currently pressurizing gas storage vessels on both the first and second stage. And as I like to report, the good news is there's nothing significant to talk about on the rocket right now. Now on top of Falcon 9 is the Dragon spacecraft. That's being prepared for the crew. The Dragon propellant system was pressurized to final flight pressure about an hour ago. We had the support team arrive in the White Room just inside T-minus 4 hours, and we're waiting right now for the crew to walk out of the ONC building, and they should arrive at the pad by about T-minus 3 hours. For the Dragon spacecraft, all prepared for the crew. The Dragon propellant system was pressurized to final flight pressure about an hour ago. We had the support team arrive in the White Room just inside.
Choose different days for different phasing, but in this particular one, good to have the longer phasing time. Looks a lot smaller than the space shuttle, is it? Oh yeah, it's definitely smaller than the space shuttle. I mean, the space shuttle, remember, you've got, space shuttle had, 2 decks for astronauts. The Crew Dragon capsule, it's deceivingly big because you could fit, it has capacity to fit 7 astronauts in the Crew Dragon capsule, but not a lot of cargo you fit in with your 7 astronauts, but there's only, NASA's going to use it with 4 astronauts on their commercial crew missions, but has the potential to do up to 7. But yeah, we have a lot. Space shuttle was way bigger. I think I missed a couple super chats here. Sterling, let's see, can I go back? All I see is your name. Let me see if you had a little message with it so I can make sure I check out your message here. Want to make sure I don't miss those, because I really appreciate you guys helping to support the stream there, so I don't want to forget about you. Let's see, while I'm pulling that up, enjoying the chat. Tell us about you. How do you know all of this? It's just magic. No, I've been doing this for a long time here now, so let's see. So what are the ones that we missed here? Sterling, I don't know if these are in the same, I don't know what order these are in. These seem like they're in the wrong order. Let me look here. There we go. I see Israel. Yisrael? Is that how you say that? Thanks for the super chat. Luke, thanks for the super chat. Sterling, thanks for the super chat. Mirko, I think I saw some of these. Marius. John says, how do they get the rocket out of, or how do they get the fuel out of the rocket? There's drains, hoses, they can just drain anything that's still liquid, they can drain out of the rocket, pump out. I think I got all of those. If I missed one, somebody please tell me that I missed one, but I think I got them all. Because I saw the sell me your shirt, I saw the fist, I saw how do we get the fuel out of the rocket. Marius, keep it up. Mirko, Sterling sent me a thumbs up chicken. Luke with the fist bump, Israel. All right, I think we got them all, so appreciate that. I just want to make sure we got those. Looks like we're getting close to walkout here. We got the view of the walkout. Now, you're going to take a look at the mission patches around the door and on the NASA insignia right above the door. There is a Demo 2 mission patch that is right above, at the top left of that NASA logo above the door. They did put the DM2 mission patch up there. So, Michael says, over on Facebook, the shuttle's bigger, 7 guys can go, Dragon only up to 4. The Dragon actually has capability to fit 7, but for the commercial crew program, NASA will only utilize a 4-seat Dragon configuration. But it has room for 7 seats in the Dragon. What's the max the capsule can carry? I don't know that off the top of my head. How long does it take to get to the ISS? 19 hours. What time are they going to launch? 3 hours and 30 minutes from now, right there. Oh, I guess I could have stayed here because the NASA countdown is right there as well, but mine is synced up with theirs as well. So yeah, we're just waiting for astronaut walkout. Are they going to be able to take pictures of the ET spacecrafts? That would be pretty crazy if we saw some sort of unidentified spacecraft.